On today's video, I wanted to talk about the concept of a strong woman versus a powerful woman. I know that this will be very eye-opening to a lot of women, especially the ones that are on a healing journey. If you are going through a breakup, post-breakup, or maybe you are in a season where you are trying to establish yourself and who you are. And so you're asking yourself all of these questions and building the type of woman that you want to be. And so, society, sometimes religion, patriarchy, there's this concept of being strong, right? So if you are strong, it seems like a good thing, which it could be a good thing. But we want to be careful with what we define as strong. I know that when I was going through my healing journey, some of these things I really had to question. Do I really need to be strong? And is this really what strong looks like? Or because the Bible actually says that a woman is a gentle vessel. So that's actually the complete opposite of a strong woman. But society, everybody wants us to be strong. And you do need to be strong in order to be good in this life. And in order to succeed and to live a good life, you do need to be strong. But be careful with what things you believe, because some of these things are actually limiting beliefs and they will keep you stuck from growing. So if you are on this journey, be really careful. With what you are identifying yourself with and what strong looks like. So you actually get to decide what is strong to you. But this is kind of what society tells us, and so some of these things are programmed into us. Um, and everybody tells us to be strong because actually, when you are strong, you are convenient, and I'll explain why. You are in a way predictable, you can be controlled, and you can be manipulated. So if you can be sold the concept of being strong, then you are being beneficial to somebody. And in a way, how can you beneficial, right? How so? And when you are strong, a strong woman, you take on some of male roles. Naturally, when you're strong, you take on more than you should be. And so when you take on these roles, then you actually step away from your feminine energy, from who you are supposed to be in a woman. And one way that this can be manipulated is when we try to help a man, right? We try to help him, but you can't help a man that can't. There are things he needs to be able to do on his own. So he needs to mature on his own. He needs to be able to go from thinking like a boy to thinking like a man. But sometimes women, especially in a relationship, maybe even a marriage, they take on that role where they try to help him deal with his emotions, deal with his problems, and maybe if he comes from an abusive childhood, we tend to give him excuses, right? Or he's having a hard time, he can't keep a job, and so you feel sorry for him. So sometimes you, by feeling sorry for him, you take on his responsibilities, what he's supposed to be doing for himself. So if he comes from an abusive relationship, childhood, and his parents didn't give him those strong characteristics, then he needs professional help. He needs to go to a therapist, or he needs to go and seek God. But what a lot of women do is they take that burden on themselves, or if we talk about biblical terms, we take on the cross. But maybe that's not your cross to carry. That is his cross to carry, especially if he is dealing with sin, if he is dealing with addictions. That is not your problem. That is his problem, because the more you solve that problem for him, the more you step into that strong, that masculine energy. And that's not beneficial to you, because there's things he's got to be able to do on his own. So, this is a very common thing that keeps women in toxic, abusive, manipulative relationships, is you feel sorry for him, and sometimes they use Sometimes it's an addiction, sometimes it's a sin, or, they're trying to see God. So here you are trying to be a woman of God, and you think, okay, if I just show him God's love, he will stay, he will love me. But some things only God can change in him, and that is not for you to do. Um, so this is where you have to differentiate um, between being a helper and being a supportive, which you can support a man, and support looks like this. You can say, hey, I believe in you. I believe that you will find the right answer. I believe that you can conquer, this thing that you're going through. I know that you got this, and I know that you will figure out a way. So don't solve his problem, but support him through the problem, but have him figure out how is he going to solve this problem. Other ways that we have been programmed into being strong is actually from childhood, and that's from playing Barbies and dolls. And so this nurturing characteristic has been brought up in us. It's been nurtured, or it's been programmed into us to take care of everybody, which nurturing is a very beautiful characteristic, but it's one that you really have to be careful with, because this is where you can turn into a mommy to your partner. And this is where sometimes, even with the kids, we can raise children that are too codependent. They rely on us to do everything. They know that you will solve all of their problems. And so here you are being a mommy to everybody, to your kids, to your husband, to your partner. And so you take on that strength that sometimes is actually not yours to take. So your man is supposed to take care of his problems, and you need to teach your children to be independent. And yes, there's a season, where they depend on us, but little by little, we need to be cutting them away so that they are prepared for the real world. Because this is why we see a lot of adult children come back to live with mom and dad, because they were not ready for the real world. So be very careful with the nurturing trait that society really early on tries to make it a really big one, like it's a very important one, and it is, but be very, very mindful of it. Um, Also, a woman is considered strong if she stays by her man no matter what. And this is where sometimes this is, through religion, we give our vows before God, before people, before the church, and we say, in sickness and in health, and all of these things that we say, right? But when a man is abusive, when the relationship is disruptive, if it's emotionally abusive, financially abusive, and God forbid it's physically abusive, that is not the type of man that you should be standing by. And so sometimes religion has us staying in these very disruptive relationships, and you are considered strong to everybody if you stay in these relationships. So I'm not saying divorce, but if it does get abusive, you do need to distance yourself from this person, because if you are strong, he cannot be strong. So if you want your man to step into his role, you need to step back a little bit and then allow him to do what he needs to do. Also, sometimes society and religion, they see the word helper as inferior. This is sometimes used against the wife or the woman. They say, "Hey, I am the head of the household, and you are nobody. You are inferior to me." So when they say that, then but in reality, you are just as equal. And so be really careful if someone tells you that you are not enough because you are a wife. Because when we see the scripture, and when he led me into Genesis when he was kicking Adam and Eve out of the garden, he was kind of, giving everybody their punishment. And so I want to read this. Um, when God was kicking them out, he said to the woman, I will put enmity between you and the woman, so between Satan and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise you on the head, the Satan, and you will bruise him on the heel. So, what's really interesting is that God said this to the woman and not to the man. And so, it's interesting, even though she's the helper, which we think is inferior, but God says this to her seed, not to Adam's seed. And it also in the same verse says that he will bruise you in the head. So the enemy attacks us in the mind, and it starts in the Genesis. He always goes after our mind, our mindset. He goes after our word so that we don't know how powerful we are and who we are in Christ and our identity as a woman. This is what the enemy goes after the most, is our mind and what we think and how much we value ourselves. And so even though we are the helper, but the our seed is very powerful because that's what the enemy attacks. Our mind is very powerful, and that's what the enemy tries to attack. Um, So we see this kind of like ongoing war between Satan and woman, and the children that she bears, and the children that Satan's followers, and the God's people, the chosen ones. So there's always this battle. So you are very powerful. We women are very powerful, and don't let anybody or anything think of you otherwise, or you don't think any less of yourself. Um, so another thing that's considered strong is when women do a lot of multitasking, right? And it can be a beautiful thing. Multitasking is good, but this is where you sometimes run out of energy when you spread yourself too thin. And so it seems like you're doing it all, you're so strong, but sometimes that's not what's required because you're actually not putting out there good quality things because you're doing this and you're doing that and all of these things, but they're not be sometimes you're not being as productive when things are not good quality. Sometimes it's better to do less, but better quality. And we also see this because, the modern day woman, they want us to be educated, to have a job, and to be sometimes a housewife and run the house and make sure everybody looks good, everybody's clean, everybody's homework gets done. And that there's fresh food on the table, and at the same time you look amazing, you have to be in a great shape, you have to look good, have makeup on, and at the same time put a smile on, right? So there is a lot that's expected from a woman. So this is what's being rewarded, is when you can do it all and be it all and at the same time have a smile while doing it all. But be really, really careful from the pressure that society puts on you, because this is where women burn out. This is where women get anxious, depressed, and all the things that we deal with, why we get migraines and gut issues. It's because we are taking on so much load because we think that a strong woman is the one that gets rewarded. And society sometimes thinks that if you don't do these things, that you are considered lazy. And so this good girl mentality, people pleasing mentality, it builds in us from a very early on stage by society, by religion, and by the patriarchy. But since we live in this world, how do we overcome this, right? We want to be strong, right? We want a good life, and it is part of life to be strong. But I want to talk about being a powerful woman because she does do a lot of the same things, but there's actually a little bit of a difference. between a strong woman and a powerful, which a powerful woman is also strong, but her core values a little bit different. She doesn't seek to please people. She pleases herself and she pleases God. That is number one to her. She makes sure that she's not doing what everybody is telling her to do. She knows what she is here for. She knows her purpose. She knows her calling. She knows what she needs to get done. And God is her source. She is not driven by what people will say, what she will be judged for, what she will be gossiped for, but her guidance is God and what He wants her to do on this earth. And a very good example of this is, of course, the Proverbs 31 woman, right? And she was a very powerful woman. And if we read that chapter, we see that she gives orders. So instead of doing everything on her own, she actually delegates. She gives orders to this person and this person. But you may say, Irina, I don't have that kind of money. And I don't have that kind of money to have servants and to have maids. Um, so this, we can take this to another level and be like, I can't be this. But actually, your power is not about the money. It's about your posture. It's about who you are inside as a woman. But if we think about the modern day, a dishwasher is a helper. you know, uh, the washing machine, the dryer machine, they didn't have all of that back in the day, but now we have those. So our time is cut in half when we use all of these modern things that we have, right? Like the dishwasher and the washer and the dryer, and maybe like an air fryer to cook things for us, and an oven and a stove and a microwave. So we have all of these modern things. So they should be able to save us time, or like a crock pot. Right, all of these things are in a way your servant. In a way, they are your maid. So use those to your advantage, because if you have that going, you have the meal cooking in the crock pot, you have the washer, doing the laundry, then that opens up time for you to do other things. So um, use the things that we have. Um, And then if we read further on, she's very authoritative, not over her husband, but she is authoritative over what happens in the house. She makes the decisions. If you read that chapter, it says that she gives orders, she makes these decisions. So as a powerful woman, you should be in control of what happens in your house, not over your husband, but when he's out there working, this is where you take control of, maybe sleeping routine, of when you guys eat your meals, of when you do grocery shopping. So this is you taking control over your life. Okay. And the other thing that when we read about the Proverbs 31 woman is that um, he is very influential. So this talks about a man, about a couple, that he sits at the gates, right, and she does all of the housework. And like I said, this is not always about the money, but a Proverbs 31 woman, she picks her man very wisely. She will pick a man that has very good morals. He is educated. He treats her well. So what he trusts her. So while he's out there sitting by the gates, if we look up what that means he is influential. He's a political person. They get to make decisions about the city while she runs the households, the household chores. So become the type of woman where the man he respects you. He allows you to make the decision of the home, so you feel like a queen in your home. Um, so yeah, this type of woman, she is not with the lazy man. She's not with a liar or a cheater, right? She's not with a narcissistic man, a manipulative man. She chooses her partners very wisely. Then it says that her worth is above jewels. So she really knows who she is. She knows she brings a lot of value. She knows that she is worth more than jewels. Um, she works with her hands with delight. So this means fall in love with what you do. Your job could be, maybe you're a nurse, maybe you're a teacher, or maybe you're a housewife. You're a stay-at-home mom, and so fall in love with the job that you do. A powerful woman, she loves everything she does. Yes, maybe she doesn't want to do a certain thing, but she knows that it's beneficial. So she falls in love with the benefits that it brings. For example, if she stays in shape, she goes to the gym. She might not like going to the gym, but she likes how she feels after. She likes what her body looks like, right? She eats clean. Maybe she doesn't like that broccoli. She doesn't like the quinoa or something, but she knows that in order to stay in shape, in order to be in a good health, you have to eat clean. So she falls in love with the outcome. So this is how you get over that barrier, instead of being strong and complaining and thinking you have so much going on. Fall in love with the benefits that these things bring you. Fall in love with the job that you do. Fall in love with your hobbies, with your interests. So everything you do it with passion. This is what powerful women do. They have a passion for what they do, and no matter what that is. And like I said, it could be um cleaning even their house, but they like the reward that it brings. It means, she is cleaning, it's a clean space, it's a good atmosphere to come home to. So do everything with passion. Then, if you read further along that chapter, it says, from her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So she has a source of income. If you are a stay-at-home mom, be very mindful and careful, because sometimes this means that you don't have access to your guys' funds. You don't have maybe like a budget. And so this can easily be transitioned into financial abuse. So a powerful woman, she either has a job and she has her money, or she has, maybe her business, maybe she works, but maybe even if she's a stay-at-home mom, she is able to have access to the funds. So for a woman to live without anxiety, to really love what you do, you need to have some form of income that you can spend freely. Because if a woman doesn't spend money freely, then she feels kind of like suffocated. She can't really step into her full potential. If you are being dictated or told what to cook, when to cook, how to clean, all of these things. If somebody is always micromanaging you and you don't have the money to go buy whatever it is that you want to buy, when you don't have that freedom, you cannot be a powerful woman. That means you step into maybe more of that strong woman where you have to beg for money, and you have to beg your husband or your partner to say, hey, I need new jeans. Can I get some money for some new jeans? That is not a powerful woman. A powerful woman has her finances in order, and they could be hers and her husband's, but she does have access to those funds freely. It also says here that she has multiple sources of income. So if you can also find a way to have multiple sources of income, again, this will make you step into being less anxious. And a woman that is not anxious is a very beautiful, powerful woman, because she feels free. She has all of this energy. She gets really creative. So anxiety is really crucial for a woman. In order to heal that, she needs to have financial freedom. Also, it says that she is noble. So that means you are a queen, and a queen is not going to beg. A queen, she knows her worth, she knows how valuable she is, and she doesn't have to beg. So that's a very beautiful characteristic to have, is to be treated like you are noble. And in this season, maybe you're not in a relationship with a man and you're alone. So start to treat yourself this way. Treat yourself like you are a noble queen. And when you begin to treat yourself this way, the world, people around you will begin to treat you with the same standards. And like I mentioned, that this is not about money. This is about the treatment. And if you don't treat yourself this way, the world won't either. So a woman, a noble woman, so these are kind of like your standards. And when we talk about having high standards, they really start with the way you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. So don't allow somebody to yell at you, to abuse you, to not take you seriously, or treat you like a servant. Also be very mindful of how do you speak to yourself? What is that inner voice? Is it critical or is it supportive? A queen, she does not criticize herself. She supports herself, and she's very firm with her decisions. So, how do you become this type of woman, right? This powerful woman, and you gotta do the work. And in order to so one of the things is remove yourself from toxic people, from toxic environments, and this could be your job, this could be your partner. If you are not being treated like a queen, you can't, then you need to remove yourselves from all of these people that are taking advantage of you, that are throwing all of their baggage on you. Take a step back, remove yourself, and treat yourself this way. So remove yourself and then work on yourself, treat yourself to a higher standard, and then you can come back to the world as a new you, and then the world begins to treat you differently. And once you are kind of like removing yourself from these people, surround yourself with other powerful, supportive women. If you are around critics, if you are around negative people, it's going to be really hard for you to level up, to change yourself, because you are constantly going to be taking steps back. But when you surround yourself with like-minded people or above, right? So you want people that are thinking the same way. So they are also into self-growth. They also got out of toxic relationships. They also want better for themselves. They are healing. They are seeking God. They want to be successful. Get around those type of women. And then also heal the areas in your life, in your mind, where the enemy is attacking you. So what limiting beliefs are you believing? What is it that sometimes maybe religion put you in a box, sometimes society, maybe parents, maybe your partner? What limiting beliefs are you believing that are keeping you to being a queen, to be that powerful woman? And also, when you heal this, this is how you will stand out from millions of women, because men can tell when a woman loves herself. She is not arrogant. She is not prideful. She might not even be the most skinniest, prettiest, most richest woman, wealthiest woman, but she knows her worth. There's some kind of calmness about her. She's not anxious. She's not fearful because she is confident in herself. Um, so believe in yourself that you are worthy of the best. That you are noble, that you are worthy to be treated like a king, and that you are worthy to be a loved woman. And if you are alone right now, start treating yourself this way. So don't be afraid to love yourself, to love your job, build a life where you love everything that you do. So this concludes this video, and I hope it was, it opened up your eyes to some of the things that maybe you weren't aware of before. And I would really love for you to step into that powerful woman, Power does not mean money. It does not mean you have to make millions. It means that you have to have $1 million inner peace, $1 million inner world, and that's what's going to make you stand out as a powerful woman.